From nothing we came. From nothing our ancestors came, and them before they. Was how everything started. Nothing itself, a pool of chaos. For any amount of time we could imagine, and quite a bit that we couldn't, for there was no such thing as time in such a void. Everything was unchanging. There was nothing to change. Entropy had reached its maximum. The stars had gone out. The planets, no more. It was like this for what we could only call eternity. There would be no end and, what was that? For no altogether discernible reason, two beings came from this nothing. They managed to subvert the chaos, for only a little bit, for order, and indeed life, to exist. Bit by bit they continued, possibly with a reason, but it's unknown. For everything they created, they pushed back the all-encompassing blackness, until it was all-encompassing no more. They created giants, monsters, all to create order. For now something of that sort could actually exist. But, before all that, something else was made. The Titans. They were beings of monstrous power, and at this time they controlled whatever was left of the universe not under Gaia Uranus' domain. The earth, the sky. This is enough for them, until the last child, Cronus, was the Titan of time, and with him in existence the universe flowed without the sky and earth's consent. So, in spite of this power, the two original gods created something to make Cronus fear his own. Something that destroys, but only as Cronus abuses. They created the Titan of entropy, Orbisdenti, the World Eater. Cronus was not happy at all. He was still a young Titan, more rash and hot-headed than he should have been. Orbisdenti was in his way, and he still did not know the point of his brother's potential. It was possible that Gaia Uranus' claim was bluff, and Orbisdenti was not such a wall as he imagined. But even through his currently impulsive nature, he saw the dangers of this assumption. To test exactly how powerful Orbisdenti was, he snuck up to him in his sleep, tried to speed time up around something in the vicinity. He chose a pot with beautiful designs of the universe decorating it. He moved it, with impossible speed to you or I, but to him it was nothing remarkable. He merely pushed the pot at an enormous speed he would. If you were an onlooker, observing the situation, however, the action would be completed before it was even possible to see it. After a few seconds of our time, the pot shuddered to a stop. Cronus peered into its clay hole. What he saw made him never deny anything that was ever said about power. Nothing was going to make him cease loyalty to Orbisdenti. He mustn't. He must not know. Cronus ran out, stealthy as he could. There could be no dominance. He could not disturb the power of entropy. Why did he think this, you might ask? In place of the pot was mere rubble. Now, in the metaphorical shadow of his brother, Cronus began to see the world as he does today. No longer was he the impulsive youngling who had attempted to mess with the laws of the universe. He had become much more wise. So, because of this, as the years passed by, he formulated a plan. No longer did Cronus seem content with being under control of his brother, but he still knew not to directly state his motives. So he attempted to befriend Orbisdenti, who did not suspect anything because of his youth. Ages came and passed, and Cronus came closer and closer to his final goal. But, as the bond grew, Orbisdenti grew much more powerful as well. His mere presence ate away at the fabric of reality. It made Cronus think of the incident before, but the age pot. Nothing was being done. Entropy was just as dangerous as he had been before Cronus's control. The only difference was now he could rule the Titans for himself, if only he had the incentive. It was this very "if only" that prompted Cronus to appear once again in Orbisdenti's quarters while he slept, this time with more lethal intent. Instead of allowing the pot to age, however, Cronus instead used his powers to attack Orbisdenti. This was his first mistake. While it was true that Orbisdenti did not wake up, and aged indeed, a Titan could not die that easily. By allowing time to flow to entropy himself, Cronus allowed the same to the entire universe. Entropy was now tied to time even more than it already had, and if time flowed, the destruction did as well. It was this action that made everything eventual. Everything will die, other than the perpetrators themselves, Cronus and the unknowing Orbisdenti. But alas, he was unknowing no more. Time had made him wise, as he could not die of age, like a clay pot could. So, when Urano's had entered, to exterminate whatever had caused entropy to be unleashed, as he was already afraid of Orbisdenti, and finally banished him to somewhere unknown, Cronus's betrayal was never forgotten. The trust between time and entropy had been broken. Taking advantage of the distraction of Uranos and the lack of Entropius power at hand, Cronus took the opportunity to murder his father, as he was sure that he would be after Orbisdenti, if it was allowed. Time was the new king, and he planned to use it to its fullest, at least until Orbisdenti could return. He took a wife, Rhea, and had children. But all throughout this, the thought of someone taking his power was overwhelming, enough to make him decide to devour his own children, in case they ever became powerful. He also maintained a search in secret for Orbisdenti to know if he would ever come back. None of the other Titans could know, lest they use this terrible power for themselves. It would not be able to be contained, and something even worse than the decay of the universe could occur, if that were imaginable. Then, something even worse, at least in Cronus's perspective, occurred. One of his children, Zeus, who he had thought he had eaten, had somehow escaped. He knew this because the god of lightning had appeared in the distance, clad in kingly robes, his master bolt at hand. Father Time was smited by the bolt, and hurled out Zeus's devoured siblings. They at once rose up and delivered to Cronus his biggest fear, the loss of power. The known Titans were thrown into Tartarus. Orbisdenti's location and intent was still unknown, and the Age of Gods had begun. This time was a prosperous one, giving rise to many wonders of the world. Heroes like Hercules, Odysseus, were born, lived their legacies. It was, for the most part, peaceful, but only on the surface. Orbisdenti was not lost, nor had he escaped from his imprisonment. He had not forgotten the ultimate betrayal of Cronus, and sought revenge like nothing else. His heart, if a Titan could have such a thing, was bent on one thing, but he could not do it. Cronus could not die. If time cannot flow, then entropy cannot as well. There would be no vertex of destruction. Knowing this, Orbisdenti could not murder his older brother, but to allow him to rule again, when the gods eventually back down, is as well unfit to consider. The gods needed to go as well. He did not hate them, like the overwhelming disdain he reserved only for his brother, but they were still pitied. He was perplexed by why they were in power. The gods were less than animals in Orbisdenti's eyes, and should be put down as such. Entropy could not escape his entrapment yet. Uranus had set him in years before, but a small sliver of entropy could still escape and wreak havoc on the world. He tried to envelop that sliver, that spark, to a point where it could become a flame, then an inferno. He may not be able to directly affect things, but he could still try and make things go his way in the long run, because everything will eventually fall, even so-called peace. Chaos, in its truest form, had begun to emerge in the world above. Civil war had started, even within nature itself. Cages to horrible monsters, trapped for eons, disappeared, seemingly overnight. Titans grew from the prison in Tartarus and attacked the gods. The Olympians fought back, but no one could battle for long. Their strange weariness, a better word for it would be age, ate away at their fighting spirit until they could battle no more. The world, nay, the universe, was in decay. It was only a matter of time before Orbisdenti's cage would be devoured itself. When that day did come, entropy wasted no time. He rode the back of the flow of time, and nothing could escape him. In no time at all, yet all of the time, nothing remained other than his dear brother Cronus. The one thing Orbisdenti needed for his power. Cronus asked him if this was what he wanted. Orbisdenti replied no. He would rather have Cronus be dead. Then Father Time looked him in the eye, and for once there was no hate, no fear, no manipulation. Then Cronus granted Entropy's wish. Time was gone forever. Such a concept could exist where there was nothing. And then, for no altogether discernible reason, two beings came from this nothing. Their names were Gaia and Uranus, the earth and sky.